3 officers on board was being attacked. They interpreted it as a real attack. They actually thought that maybe there was a war going on. And they were nuclear armed. They had a nuclear torpedo. All 3 of them needed to agree to employ the nuclear warhead. One of them, his name was Captain Arkhipov, decided that he did not want to approve the use of the nuclear torpedo. And basically, we do have a lot of nuclear warheads on submarines, which could be pretty much anywhere in the world's oceans.
What's interesting, so submarines keep moving most of the time.
Yeah.
Isn't it dangerous to have a nuclear warhead continuously on a boat?
Yeah, some of these nuclear submarines are carrying so many warheads. They're carrying so many missiles, and each missile is carrying warheads.
But submarines
I think they
sink.
call them handmaidens of the apocalypse. There were incidents in like the 1950s where a U.S. and a Soviet submarine, crashed into one another. They're
nuclear armed.
Nuclear armed.
What happened?
And nothing happened. Like, we've actually been, this is the one way of looking at the history of the entire nuclear age. So 80 years of the nuclear age is that we've been very, very lucky that the scenarios I'm describing, the scenario Annie Jacobson is describing, the scenario I'm describing, nuclear winter, ozone layer destruction. There's a whole other thing, which you probably also know about, because I know you spoke with Dennis Quaid. The electromagnetic pulse, that's another thing you could do. You could shut down the electricity over entire countries. Like, you need 3 nuclear warheads to shut down the electricity over the entire United States. And this isn't a case where it's a blackout and we're all inconvenienced for a week. This is like the electricity is not coming back. So you wouldn't even need to explode nuclear weapons on cities. You'd just need to shut down our electrical grid. And then, good luck.
The country starts to death.
Yeah, good luck to all of us.
So during the Cold War, a Russian sub, Soviet sub, and a U.S. sub collided. Luckily, the bombs didn't go off, but there were also examples of warheads being lost, right?
Yeah, warheads being lost, warheads being dropped to the bottom of the ocean. There are about 50 nuclear warheads at the bottom of the ocean.
So wait, there are 50 nuclear warheads right now at the bottom of the ocean?
Right now at the bottom of the ocean, yeah.
And no one's tried to retrieve them?
Fell off a submarine, fell off a plane, all kinds of accidents. It wasn't just two submarines colliding. There was also airplanes carrying nuclear warheads colliding.
Seriously?
There was once a nuclear warhead that was dropped quite literally into someone's backyard in South Carolina. It didn't go off. It had multiple security kind of systems, and the last one held. Everything else, had given way.
Wait, the U.S. military dropped a nuclear bomb in someone's backyard in South Carolina?
Yeah, absolutely. I forget the exact year. Most of these incidents were in the 1950s, but that was kind of a period of really stupid accidents. And then what is often referred to in the field as close calls, sort of got more sophisticated. In 1962, of course, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yes, famously.
A whole set of things. And really what we understand from that is that could have led to a nuclear war, from deliberate kind of, U.S. Kennedy was under a tremendous amount of pressure to actually invade Cuba. By that point, the Soviets actually had nuclear warheads and missiles in Cuba. Had that invasion order gone, we quite simply would have had a nuclear war. But it wasn't just that. There were incidents during that 13-day period 3 of them on the same day, October 27th. It was a Saturday. It's often referred to as the Black Saturday. There were 3 things that happened that day. One was a U.S. plane that was doing some kind of monitoring near the North Pole and had accidentally gone off, lost radar, lost the ability to navigate where they were, and gone deep into the Soviet Union, and was actually too high up for the Soviet, defense to, and they really tried to shoot it down, but the guy escaped. Then there was an airplane that was shot down over Cuba, and the American captain was killed on that day, and Kennedy did not decide to move towards an invasion, and so on. And then perhaps the most serious one was where the U.S. was trying to enforce a blockade of the Soviets weren't supposed to be coming to Cuba to, bring any sort of military equipment. And to enforce this blockade, they were using something called depth charges, but they were using kind of simulating depth charges, and depth charges like a weapon to attack a submarine. And so they were using ones that would sort of simulate an attack, but not really attack. And one Soviet submarine had sort of 3 officers on board, was being attacked by these depth charges. They interpreted it as a real attack. They actually thought that maybe there was a war going on. And they were nuclear armed. They had a nuclear torpedo on board. And what they needed, this wasn't, like they needed permission from some higher authority. They needed, all 3 of them needed to agree to employ the nuclear warhead. One of them, his name was Captain Arkhipov, decided that he did not want to approve the use of the nuclear torpedo, and basically saved the world in that moment. The very next day, October 28th, was actually the end of the Cuban Missile Crisis, where the Soviets, agreed to withdraw their nuclear missiles from Cuba. President Kennedy had in turn agreed that the U.S. would withdraw its nuclear missiles from Turkey. This wasn't known until relatively recently, because at the time Kennedy asked Khrushchev, you have my word, we'll do this, but I just need a little time, and I'm not going to make it public. And that was the agreement. It ended the Cuban Missile Crisis.
We've got a new partner. It's a company called Cowboy Colostrum. It's a brand that is serious about actual health, and the product is designed to work with your body, not against your body. It is a pure and simple product, all natural. Unlike other brands, Cowboy Colostrum is never diluted. It always comes directly from American grass-fed cows. There's no filler, there's no junk. It's all good. It tastes good, believe it or not. So before you reach for more pills for every problem that pills can't solve, we recommend you give this product, Cowboy Colostrum, a try. It's got everything your body needs to heal and thrive. It's like the original superfood, loaded with nutrients, antibodies, proteins, help build a strong immune system, stronger hair, skin, and nails. I threw my wig away and right back to my natural hair after using this product. You just take a scoop of it every morning in your beverage, coffee, or a smoothie, and you will feel the difference every time. For a limited time, people who listen to our show get 25% off the entire order. So go to cowboycolostrum.com, use the code Tucker at checkout, 25% off when you use that code Tucker at cowboycolostrum.com. Remember, you heard it here first. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.